Okay, well, hello, hello, everyone. Hope your first week of the spring semester is going okay so far. You're not having too much trouble with getting the textbooks. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry if I clear my throat a little bit at the beginning of this video. It's of course, with the weather's of course it's kind of funky. It's been dry and chilly. So I just get used to one change in weather. And since, as you know, I'm out here up in the southwestern part of Riverside County, so the evenings are definitely a little bit cooler than what you get over there in Bygros out there in El Cajon, La Mesa, Santee, San Carlos, so those areas. So, and then possibly rain coming up soon. So I hate to see what my voice is going to be like when that kicks in. But in any event, what I want to do for you in this video is tell you quite a bit more about the class. I'm going to go over all the nuts and bolts, the ins and outs, the inner workings, all of that fun stuff about what the class is. And in this video and in several of the other videos during the course of the semester, I'll be using the Camtasia software in that you won't see me. You won't be seeing me, unlike the video I had for the first day of class, which of course I was in my car and they're in the parking lot of the Thornton Winery out here in Temecula. Um, but in this video and in several others, I'll be using the software in which you won't see me, but of course you'll hear me. But you'll mainly see what I have here recording on the what I have recording on the screen. So whether it's websites, whether it's a Blackboard, or whether it's a PowerPoint, or any type of program I have right here on my MacBook, you'll see that instead of me. But you will of course hear me like you're doing right now. All right, well, listen, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the class. And in this video, I'll focus mainly on the syllabus and schedule section. I'll have several other videos throughout the course of the semester in which I talk about some of the various elements about the class, like the writing assignments. I will, of course, have more videos about the Daughter of Fortune stuff. So this video that I'll have for you right now won't get into a lot of detail about that. But coming up next week, the second week of the semester, I'll begin to start talking more about that, and there'll be at least one video next week in which I talk more about this, and then of course with a video project portion, I'll have some other nuts and bolts videos on that. But for sure, let me go ahead and draw your attention to the syllabus and schedule section. Let me go ahead and click that right now, and let's go ahead and see what's happening here. Excuse me. Okay, all right. So undoubtedly, I would say the majority of you have already seen this information so far. Here's the information about the class. The best way to reach me throughout the course of the semester, please get into the habit of using the messages for professor section. You don't have to contact me at my email anymore. In fact, I don't want you to contact me there anymore. Please use this section here. All you do is when you go into messages for professor, you'll find the list of everybody in the class, and you'll see me listed twice. Be sure to choose Oscar Cañedo instructor. Choose my name, move that over to the recipient area, type in your message, and then click submit. The reason I have two Oscar Cañedo accounts is that one is a student account in that when I write up the class, I have the information on Blackboard, I can see the perspective as a student to make sure that everything looks okay. So if you write to me through just plain Oscar Cañedo, chances are I won't see that message for quite a long time. But if you want to get a rapid response from me within 24 hours, during the course of the school week, and within about 48 hours during the weekend, definitely use Oscar Cañedo instructor from the list of people in the class, and then send out your message. Generally speaking, I'm pretty much available from Monday at 8 a.m. all the way through to Friday afternoon, so that'd be about 1, 2, upwards of about 3 p.m. So if you write to me within that time frame, let's say you write to me on a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. By the next Wednesday by 11 a.m. you'll get chances are there's a great chance you'll get a response from me. But on the other hand, if you send me a message, say Friday at 5 p.m., don't expect to get a reply from me by Saturday at 5 p.m. But more than likely, you'll get a reply from me that is Sunday at 5 p.m. Maybe a little bit early, like 5 p.m. Usually by late Sunday afternoon, that's when I start getting into the process of making sure that everything is set for the week and I'm ready to go for not just our class, but for my other Grossmont sections, and of course for my Mesa and Southwestern College classes too. All right, and because Mr. Professor is the the quickest way to contact me, use that exclusively. And even though I have my voicemail system, I don't use it anymore. So please don't bother checking on this. Use this for the rest of the semester. And there's a photo of me and Professor actually taken in Detroit about 5 years ago. That's the Detroit River and Windsor, Ontario, over in the background. Excuse me, everyone. A little bit of a frog trying to sneak into my throat here. All right, course description, course goals. These are things which are generally listed in the course description, the course catalog. So no need for me to really go over too much detail there. But just note this class is of course a broad panorama of the course of California history, from the early times, of course, the Native Americans, the geography, the interplay between geography and the and peoples. That's what you're seeing, of course, in the first chapter of the Rawls and Bean textbook. So we'll go from that point in time through, of course, the arrival of the Spaniards, the mission system, the U.S.-Mexico War, the early Mexican period, and of course the railroads, agriculture, on into the 20th century, the rise of the big cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, of course, San Diego, the industries, of course, such as oil, movie, Hollywood, and a lot of the politicians who came out of the area, people like Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and of course the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, that'll be the last Arnold impression I'll do for the rest of the semester. All right, course prerequisites. Make sure you have a quick connection, preferably cable. I don't know if anybody still uses a DSL, but hopefully none of you are using dial-up. I think that stuff went far by the wayside, at least about 9 or 10 years ago. But more importantly, make sure you have access to a text editor, such as Microsoft Word or Apple Pages, to write your papers. There are a few writing assignments here in the class. I'll tell you more about them in just a few minutes. So send in your papers. Make sure that they're in Word, Pages, or in PDF format. Those three formats. If you send your papers to me in any of those, that'll work out just fine. I'll be able to download and read your papers quite easily. You've got two main textbooks for the class. We have the main California book, which you need to start looking at right now. That's written by James Rawls and the late Walton Bean. Professor Bean passed away many, many years ago, but he was the one who started the process of this book back in by the late 1960s, early 1970s. So after his passing, Professor Rawls took over, and he pretty much is the main author now. But it was Professor Bean who got the ball rolling on this classic California textbook. So make sure you get the 10th edition. I've already had a few inquiries about the 9th edition. You can get the 9th edition. It's got a blue cover. I believe there's actually a shoreline scene. Looks like it might be Big Sur, Monterey, one of those nice coastal towns. So if you get the 9th edition, that'll work. You might have a few problems with respect to the continuity in terms of the quizzes. But if you're really concerned about cost, then by all means go ahead and get the 9th edition. It won't bother you too much on the quizzes. But please don't get anything earlier than 9th edition. If you try to get something 8th edition and earlier, you'll really have a tough time on the quizzes. So preferably get the 10th. But if you want to get the 9th to cut down on costs, definitely go that route. But please, nothing earlier than the 9th edition. And get A Daughter of Fortune. That's a classic Latin American literary work about the gold rush, actually, from the legend from Isabel Allende, a prominent Latin American author, native of Chile, who actually lives up in the Bay Area. I believe Marin County is where she's living now. So we're going to start on Daughter of Fortune very soon. I'll say a few quick things about that in just a second. So get that right away. Be sure to get that, in fact, by next week, the second week of the semester. All right, let me talk a little bit about the assignments here, and I'll have more videos about the vast majority of these within the next few weeks. One of your first assignments is called the Student Learning Outcome Assessment, or the SLO. It's something that's done quite a bit in a lot of the classes taught by my colleagues here in the history department. Some of them like to have the SLOs as part of the final, others as separate assignments, maybe as part of the exams or midterms or so forth. I like to have it as a separate assignment. And I'll tell you a little bit more about these in the next couple of weeks. But to give you the quick sketch of what they are, what you do is you work on looking at what are called primary sources on two different aspects of California history. The first one is the California mission system, and the second one is the gold rush. And the information on these is already available for you in the assignment section. I'm not going to open up the assignment section for you in this video, but you can go and look in it here. And get the information about the SLOs. But like I said, I will have more details about the SLOs in subsequent videos. I should get that ready for you within the next couple of weeks. So for sure, by the no later than the second week of February, I'll have those videos, that video for you. There are two due dates for this. The first one is Friday, February 26th, and the second one is Friday, March 18th. Each one counts as 7.5% of your class grade. That means the totality of this counts as 15% of your class grade. So like I said, more details coming about this soon. Within the next week and a half, 2 weeks, you'll have a separate video about the SLOs. All right, let me talk about Daughter of Fortune in just a moment here. Let me skip over to the novel assignment and the EBSCO review and the quizzes, and then I'll come back to the Daughter of Fortune stuff. One of your other main writing assignments is, or one of your main writing assignments is the California Novel Review. What you're to do is choose a book which pertains to anything that is it's got to be novel, it's got to be fiction, pertains to the scope of the class. And there are many great authors who have examined various aspects of California, whether it's, of course, the legendary John Steinbeck, Frank Norris, who was popular at the beginning of the 20th century. Isabel Allende has another book that you can use separately from Daughter of Fortune. Don't use Daughter of Fortune for this assignment. That's not allowed, but she's got a couple of other books that have California-type themes in especially the sequel to Daughter of Fortune called Portrait in Sepia. Then you have people like Joan Didion and those who get into more Chicano-based themes which pertain to California, like Jose Antonio Villarreal and Victor Villaseñor, who I believe actually lives in San Juan, lives up in North County. I think Oceanside, Leucadia, Carlsbad, one in that area. That's where Mr. Villaseñor makes his home. And you've got authors who explore Asian themes like Maxine Hong Kingston and Amy Tan, and many others too that undoubtedly I'll mention during the course of the semester. So choose your author, choose your topic. You've got plenty of time to think about this, not due until the end of the semester, May 27th. And once you figure out what author you want to explore, then definitely let me know which you want to work on. I would suggest that by about the middle part of April, please start letting me know what authors you want to work on. And let me know the title, of course, the author, and then go ahead and get working on it. And to submit your assignments, of course, there's a way for you to do that within the assignment section. Excuse me. Within the assignment section, just click a few buttons, and I believe I still have left over some how-to instructions on uploading assignments in here. But if any of you have any concerns about how to actually properly upload your assignments, definitely let me know. I'll give you a hand with that. Okay, and then the other writing assignment is the EBSCO article review. What you're to do here is to go into the Grossman College Learning Resource Center website, the library website, and there is access to various databases in which you can find articles on arts, on literature, on that is on biology, on chemistry. That is undoubtedly, I would say the vast majority of my colleagues that have assignments in which you have to explore the online databases from the Grossmont Library. And of course, you don't have to be present on campus to use the databases. Anywhere from that is anywhere on a remote access basis. That is from your home, from your work computer, or even your mobile device if you're out on the road. By all means, from that remote access site, you can log into the Grossmont College library databases. I do have a video in which I explain how to use the EBSCO database and how to find your articles. I'll have that coming up for you within the next couple of weeks. So I would say roughly around the mid part of February, maybe around the time of the where Valentine's Day and the President's Weekend holiday kicks in. I'll have that EBSCO video, nuts and bolts video for you. So, and one more thing, like with the California Novel Review, make sure you use Microsoft Word or Apple Pages or PDF as the format in which you submit your paper. And this one's going to be due actually a week before the novel review. This is going to be due on Friday, May 20th. Let me talk about the quizzes and the final, then I'll backtrack to the Daughter of Fortune stuff. So let me quickly advance a little bit here. There are two types of assessments here in the class. There are the bi-weekly quizzes and the final exam. The bi-weekly quizzes, that is quizzes that take place over every other week, these quizzes cover about 4 to 5 chapters of the Rawls and Bean textbook material. So in other words, each quiz covers the previous 2 weeks of material. So this week we're working on chapters 1 and 2 of the Rawls and Bean textbook, and then next week chapters 3 and 4 kick in. So of course what that means is that quiz 1 will cover the first 4 chapters of the Rawls and Bean textbook and any PowerPoint programs that I have included to go along with the readings, and also anything pertaining to the Daughter of Fortune text. But by and large, the vast majority of topics that will be focused in the quizzes will be topics from the Rawls and Bean textbook. You take 8 quizzes during the course of the semester. Each quiz is worth 100 points. There are 50 multiple choice questions per each quiz. And when you finish with the 8 quizzes, it's your average score of your best 7 that go into your final grade count. That is, the average score makes it 20% of your class grade. So, for example, let's say of the 8 quizzes, your best 7, your average score is about a 90 or 92, something like that. But then there was one quiz, maybe you were sick, you weren't feeling so good, maybe through the semester, maybe it was in quiz 4 and you got a 68. Well, what happens is the 68 gets tossed out. It's not incorporated into your final grade count. So your average score of those best 7 quizzes, that is, if it was a 90, that is 20% times 90. That of course is 18. So you have 18 raw points which go into your final grade count, your final grade tabulation. And to give you an extra hand as you take these quizzes, I'll give you access to the quizzes ahead of time in PDF format. So the quizzes will be taking place on a Friday to Monday basis. So in other words, coming up next week, so that takes into February 5th. I'll open up the quiz the morning of February 5th, and it's going to shut down the following Monday, February 8th at just before midnight, 11:59. But on Thursday the 4th, I will give you the PDF copy of the quiz ahead of time. So this way you have time to look through the textbook, look at the PowerPoint programs, or review any chapters from Daughter of Fortune, and then compile your answers first. And once you do that, then starting on Friday the 5th through Monday the 8th, go ahead and just simply type in your answers into Blackboard. So it'll be on the mornings of the Thursdays before the quiz opens on a Friday. It'll be those Thursdays in which the PDF copy will be available for you. You'll find the PDF copies in the course documents section, and then Friday is when the quiz opens up. And to take your quizzes, you just simply go into the section. We'll scroll back up here into the okay, actually, it's in the assignments section. Assignments is where you're going to find the links to all of the quizzes. But course documents is where you're going to find the PDF copies of each quiz. All right, so those are the quizzes. Those are in multiple choice, but the final will be a little bit different. The final is going to be comprehensive, and it'll cover the entirety of the class material, starting from starting from the Native Americans, the geography, all the way through to modern times. That is Pete Wilson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jerry Brown's second term as governor. Those will be the topics toward the end of the semester, and um, and the final exam, that is what you have here, are short essays. That is a series of short essay questions, not multiple choice, not true false, but essay questions. But unlike the writing assignments in which you submit papers in PDF or Word format and send those in to me, what you do with the final exam is simply write your answers directly in. Excuse me, I'll try it one more time. Write your answers directly into Blackboard. That's what you do for the final exam. And um, and like with the quizzes, you go into the assignment section to write in your answers. The due date for your final exam answers is on Saturday, May 28th. So we'll go about one more day that is into finals weeks, right before the Memorial Day. So just as a Memorial Day weekend is starting to kick in, if you need a little bit of extra time to finish things up, Saturday, May 28th is the due date for that. But to give you a hand with this, like with the quizzes, I'm going to give you the access to the entire final exam in PDF format in mid-February. So after Valentine's Day and the President's Day weekend, the Washington and Lincoln holidays, the PDF copy of the final exam will be ready for you. So my suggestion is, once you have the PDF copy of the final exam in your hands, have that with you as you're going through the readings, because you have the choice of the questions that you want to work on the final exam. So for example, we get into the railroads. Let's say there's one question about the railroads that looks interesting to you. You'd rather work on that than maybe the politics of San Francisco. So those might be two question choices you have. You choose one or the other. So if you don't want to do the question on San Francisco politics, skip that and do the railroad one as well. But my suggestion is, as you're going through each chapter in the Rawls and Bean textbook, start compiling information, start thinking ahead of time as to what you want to do, what you want to have for your answers. By the time we get into mid-May and you're ready to get going to write your answers, you already knew ahead of time what you were going to be working on. So this way, you're not rushing at the end of the semester to go back and say, "Oh my gosh, I got to do this question. Professor said that I could work on the railroad question, but I forgot about that stuff. I need to go back into chapter 10 to review all of that. I'm getting nervous. I'm panicking. No." So to avoid that, my suggestion is, again, make sure you have the PDF copy of the final exam with you. That is, as you go through the readings week by week, so that you have an idea of what you're going to be working on ahead of time. All right, and like with the quizzes, this thing will be worth 20% of your class grade. So, for example, let's say your final exam score is let's say it's 80 out of 100. 20% times 80 is 16. So 16 points then goes into the final grade tabulations. Okay, let me talk about academic integrity and combination course grading in just a bit. Then I'll quickly go over the schedule. But before we do that, let me quickly say a few quick things about the daughter of fortune stuff. I don't want to say too much now because it looks like the video is starting to run a bit long right now. So I want to go ahead and start wrapping things up. But the gist of the daughter of fortune stuff is that you're to do two things here. You're to participate in group discussion forums in which you discuss various elements of the daughter of fortune story, and then as we get into early April, after the spring break, you're to present a video. You're to submit a video project into Blackboard or to the class. Actually, submit it into YouTube, and then link it to the class. Link it in the discussion forum section. And what you're to do is you're to create for yourself a character like that of the story. There are many compelling, interesting characters in Daughter of Fortune. Your job is to essentially make up a character yourself. That is, don't just copy one of the other characters in the story and say, "Oh, that's going to be my character." No, don't do that. But make up a character of your own. That is, pretend you're an author like Isabel Allende, make up a character, insert yourself into the story, and in your video, your job is to announce that you want to go to California too. You want to follow the gold. You want to get on a boat from the docks in Valparaiso, Chile, and go to San Francisco. You want to see what's happening up there with the gold rush. Basically, your character is explaining why he or she wants to go to California, and just be creative as much as possible. The videos don't have to be very long. I would say in the range of, say, 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, but ideally 5 minutes is a good length. A good length to have. I've got a sample video to show you exactly what I mean. And we're going to start the readings pretty soon. Actually, coming up next week, the readings will start. But again, don't worry too much about this. Don't get confused about this at all. Please don't write to me right now and say, Professor, I don't know what to do. This is so confusing. Please help me. No, please hold off on any questions. I've got more to say about this within the next couple of weeks. So let me post some more. Let me post my first introduction video about Daughter of Fortune coming up next week, and then I'll have more as the readings get going. So please hold off on any questions right now. Coming up next week, as we get into the week of February 1st, I'll have a lot more to say about the topic, and I think that'll begin to clear things up. So the totality of both participating in the discussion forums and your video, that all combined will make up 15% of your final class grade. So even though it might seem daunting at first, just hang in there with me. I'll clear things up over the next couple of weeks, so that by the time we get into about late February, early March, I think you have a really good handle in terms of what it is you have to do. But like I said, more information about this coming up very, very soon. All right, let me scroll down toward the academic integrity accommodation statement. Just standard information here regarding things such as plagiarism, cheating, and the penalties that go into it. I don't think I need to belabor that point too much here. Accommodation statement. If any of you are getting assistance from disabled student services and programs, please check with me as soon as possible in case you need extra accommodations. I don't think you really need to in this particular class. That is for those of you who are going through DSPNS. But if you still feel a little bit, uncomfortable about some of the things in the class and feel you need to talk to me, then definitely let me know as soon as possible. Maybe if you're nervous about making videos because of this, please let me know. We'll talk this over, and we'll work out an alternate arrangement so that if you don't want to make a video, then I'll give you an alternate option so that at least you'll still get the points for the Daughter of Fortune stuff. All right, course grading structure. This just explains that I'm using a weighted total at the end of the semester. So in other words, at the end of the semester, please don't add up all your total points and try to tabulate your grade. That won't get you anywhere. I'm using weighted totals in which I'm basing everything on the percentage of that item by the total points that it's worth. I already gave you some examples on how that works with the final exam and the quizzes, and with the writing assignments. Rule of thumb is that an A equals 95 points, an A minus equals 90 points. B plus comes in the range of about 87 points. B is 85 points, something to that effect. So that's more or less the type of pattern I'm looking at here. So in other words, at the end of the semester, you're going to get a final score based on a 100-point scale. So it's that 100-point scale at the very end of the semester in which I will use to determine your final grade. So in other words, if you have, let's say, 1,244 points, and you say, Professor, I got this much, I should get an A. No, that's not going to be the case. Your numbers would be based on 100-point scale instead of a raw total of everything being combined. So just keep that in mind, everybody. But I'll, of course, talk a lot more about this once we get closer toward the end of the semester. Okay, and finally, here's the class schedule. Here's everything you need to know for the rest of the semester, starting from this week until the end of May. Already this week, we've got readings in the Rawls and Bean text on geography, history, and the Native Americans. We'll get to the Europeans coming up next week. And in fact, the Daughter of Fortune stuff will kick in that week. So what I'll do is Monday the 1st, I'll say a lot more about Daughter of Fortune. I'll have at least one video, maybe two, about the topic, and I'll start to arrange all the discussion groups for the Daughter of Fortune groups. But again, more information coming up about that in coming up at the beginning of next week. Okay, there you see where all the quizzes are every other week. There's when the first SLO is due. Of course, spring break in the third week of March. Then we resume with the Daughter of Fortune due date, more quizzes, and then the two big writing assignments are due at the very end of the semester, and the final exam on May 28th. And with that, I think that's pretty much all I need to say at this point in time right now. Like I said, I'll get into more of this stuff coming up next week, but the main thing was I wanted to at least address everything in the syllabus as detailed as possible. Oh, and one final thing. To get the PowerPoint programs, go into course documents. That's where those are located. So course documents is where all the PowerPoints are located. That's so. Forgot to mention that earlier. So before I close up shop, I better mention that now. All right, well that's it, everybody. That's it from me. So like I said, hope the first week has gone pretty well so far. And any questions about anything, I hope this video cleared up as much as possible. But anything that seems confusing, definitely let me know as soon as possible. And please get into habit of using the message for professor section. Use that from now on for the rest of the semester instead of contacting me through my email. Okay, everyone, that's it from here. You guys take care for the rest of the week, and I'll be back with you next week in which I start talking about the Daughter of Fortune stuff.